What if I told you that one of the most powerful things you can do for your blood sugar takes less than 2 minutes, costs nothing, and you can do it right in your own kitchen? No pills, no special equipment, no complicated diet to follow. Just one simple habit done at the right moment after every meal. And the difference it can make, especially after the age of 50, is something most people have never been told about. Not by their doctor, not by anyone. Here's what's interesting. Many people spend years trying to manage their blood sugar. They cut out sugar, they worry about bread, they count every bite, and still, the numbers don't move the way they hoped. Because they've been missing something small, something almost embarrassingly simple. A growing number of studies now show that what you do in the first 20 to 30 minutes after eating matters far more than most people realize. Not what you eat, what you do. And one particular movement done consistently after meals has been shown in clinical research to bring blood sugar levels down significantly. We're talking real, measurable numbers, the kind of change people usually hope a medication will bring. Now, I want to be very clear with you today. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not going to ask you to do anything extreme or difficult. What I want to do is show you something that genuinely works, explained simply, honestly, and in a way that actually makes sense for your life. So stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you're going to understand exactly what this movement is, why it works the way it does inside your body, and how to start doing it today, starting with your very next meal. This is one of those things where once you know it, you'll wonder why no one told you sooner. Let's start with something that happens inside your body every single day. Something you've probably never thought about, but once you understand it, everything starts to make sense. Every time you eat, whether it's a full meal or just a small snack, your body begins a process. Food breaks down, sugars and carbohydrates move into your bloodstream, and your blood sugar rises. This is completely normal. This is how the human body is designed to work. But here's where things get complicated. After the age of 50, this process doesn't work quite as smoothly as it used to. The body becomes slower at responding. The signal that tells your cells to absorb that sugar, it gets weaker, less efficient. And so the sugar stays in the bloodstream longer than it should, longer than is healthy. This is not a character flaw. This is not because you've done something wrong. This is simply what happens to the human body as it ages. And for millions of people, it is happening right now, quietly, without any obvious warning signs. The dangerous part? Most people feel completely fine in the short term. There's no immediate pain, no alarm going off. You finish your meal, you sit down, maybe you watch a little television, maybe you have a cup of tea, and you feel perfectly normal. Meanwhile, inside your body, your blood sugar is sitting elevated, doing quiet damage to your blood vessels, to your kidneys, to your nerves, to your eyes. Doctors call the period right after eating the postprandial window. It sounds complicated, but the idea is very simple. It's just the window of time, roughly 30 to 60 minutes after a meal, when your blood sugar is at its highest point, when your body is working hardest to bring those levels back down. And this window, this specific period of time, is where everything matters most. Think of it like a fire that starts small. If you respond immediately, it stays small. If you wait, it spreads. Your blood sugar after meals works in a very similar way. The longer it stays elevated without the body responding, the more strain it puts on every system inside you. Now here's something that will surprise you. Most of the focus around blood sugar, in clinics, in magazines, in health advice, is about fasting blood sugar. The number you get in the morning before breakfast. And yes, that number matters. But research increasingly shows that what happens to blood sugar after meals may actually be even more important for long-term health. And yet, almost no one talks about what you can do about it right in that window, at home, without anything special at all. This is where most people are making a mistake without even knowing it. After eating, the natural instinct is to rest, to sit, to let the body digest. And in many ways, that feels right. It feels like what the body needs. But for blood sugar specifically, sitting still in that critical window is one of the worst things you can do. Because when your muscles are inactive, they don't call for energy. They don't pull sugar from the bloodstream. The sugar has nowhere to go, and it stays elevated far longer than it needs to. Your muscles, you see, are like a storage system, a very powerful one. When they're active, even gently active, they absorb glucose from the blood without even needing insulin to do it. This is one of the most underappreciated facts in all of metabolic health. Muscle movement acts almost like a second insulin system, a natural one that every single person has access to, regardless of age, regardless of fitness level, regardless of how many health problems they already carry. And this is why what happens after your meal is so critical. Not before, not during, after. There is a specific, gentle action, something almost anyone can do, that activates this muscle response powerfully enough to make a measurable difference in blood sugar levels. Researchers have studied it. The numbers are striking. And the beautiful thing is, you don't need to be fit to do it. You don't need to go outside. You don't need any equipment whatsoever. You just need to know what it is, and you need to do it at the right time. So what is this movement? What exactly are we talking about? That's exactly what comes next. And I think it's going to be simpler than you expect and more powerful than you can imagine. Walking. That's it. That's the movement. But before you think, I already knew that, stay with me, because what the research shows about how to walk, when to walk, and why it works so powerfully on blood sugar is something most people have never heard explained properly. And the difference between walking randomly and walking with this specific intention after meals is enormous. This isn't about getting your steps in for the day. This isn't about fitness. This isn't about losing weight, although that may come as a bonus. This is about one very targeted biological effect that happens inside your body when you walk within a specific window of time after eating. Let's talk about that effect, because once you understand it, you'll never look at a post-meal walk the same way again. When you begin walking, even slowly, even just around your flat, even just down the hallway and back, your leg muscles immediately begin contracting. And those contracting muscles need fuel. So they reach for the most available source of energy in the bloodstream. Glucose, the very sugar that just rose from your meal. They pull it in, they use it, and your blood sugar begins to come down. But here's the part that makes this truly remarkable. This process happens through a pathway that bypasses insulin entirely. Muscle contractions trigger something called GLUT4 transporters, little doorways on the surface of your muscle cells that open up and let glucose flood in directly from the blood. No insulin required. No waiting for your pancreas to respond. The muscles simply open up and absorb the sugar themselves. For someone whose insulin response has slowed down with age, and that includes most people over 50, this is extraordinarily valuable because you are essentially giving your body a second mechanism, a backup system, one that works regardless of how well your insulin is functioning. And the research behind this is not small or uncertain. Multiple clinical studies have tested this exact idea. Participants who took a short walk after meals, as little as 10 minutes, showed blood sugar levels significantly lower than those who rested. In some studies, the reduction was dramatic, the kind of reduction that doctors work hard to achieve with medication. 10 minutes after eating, that's the prescription. Now let's get specific, because timing matters here more than most people realize. The ideal window is within 20 to 30 minutes of finishing your meal. This is when blood sugar is climbing toward its peak. This is when your intervention has the most impact. If you wait an hour, the peak has already happened. The damage, in a sense, has already been done. But if you move during that rising phase, you essentially cut off the spike before it reaches its highest point. Think of it like this. Imagine water filling a bathtub with the drain slightly open. If you open the drain wider while the water is still filling, the level never gets dangerously high. But if you wait until the tub is already overflowing to open the drain, you're already dealing with a mess. Your post-meal walk is that drain, and timing it right means the tub never overflows. Now, many people will say at this point, but I live in a flat. I can't just go outside after every meal. And this is a completely fair concern, especially in winter, especially in the evening, especially for anyone with knee pain, hip stiffness, or balance concerns. Here is the beautiful truth. You don't need to go outside. Studies specifically looked at indoor walking, walking in place, walking slowly around a room, even light movement in a small space, and found similar benefits to outdoor walking. Your muscles don't know whether you're in a park or in your kitchen. They only know whether they are moving or not. And movement, any movement, triggers that glucose absorption response. So after dinner, instead of moving immediately to your sofa, take a slow walk around your flat. Walk from the kitchen to the living room and back. Stand at the window for a few minutes and shift your weight gently from foot to foot. If your knees allow, climb your stairwell once or twice at a comfortable pace. If you have a small courtyard or a hallway in your building, use it. The movement doesn't need to be intense. It doesn't need to leave you breathless. It should feel easy, almost too easy. That's the point. In fact, and this surprises many people, research has shown that slow walking after meals may actually be more sustainable and nearly as effective as brisk walking for this specific purpose. Because the goal is not to exhaust yourself. The goal is simply to keep the muscles gently active during that critical post-meal window. To keep those GLUT4 doorways open. To keep the glucose flowing out of the bloodstream and into the muscles where it belongs. And here's something else worth knowing. This effect compounds over time. People who make post-meal walking a consistent daily habit, not occasionally, not when they remember, but consistently after every meal, begin to see changes not just in their post-meal blood sugar spikes, but in their overall blood sugar trends. Their morning fasting numbers improve. Their energy levels stabilize. Many report feeling less heavy and sluggish after eating. Less of that uncomfortable afternoon fatigue that so many older adults simply accept as normal. It is not normal. It is a signal. And a short walk after meals is one of the most direct ways to address it. But there's one more layer to this that almost nobody talks about. Something that happens beyond the blood sugar effect. Something that affects your heart, your circulation, your legs, even your mood. All from this same simple habit. And honestly, when I first came across this part of the research, it stopped me completely because it changes the way you think about what this small daily habit is actually doing for you. Here's what stopped me. When researchers started looking more closely at people who walked consistently after meals, not just their blood sugar numbers, but their overall health picture, they found something they weren't fully expecting. The benefits weren't staying neatly inside the category of blood sugar. They were spreading, quietly, systematically, into almost every corner of the body. Let's talk about your heart first. Every time you eat a large meal, your body sends a significant rush of blood toward your digestive system. Your stomach, your intestines, they need resources to process what you've just eaten. And as a result, blood flow to other areas, including your legs and your extremities, naturally slows down a little. This is part of why many people feel heavy, sluggish, even slightly dizzy after a big meal. The blood is busy elsewhere. Now, when you sit still during this period, and especially when you sit with your legs down, on a sofa or at a table, blood begins to pool in the lower legs. It moves slowly, and for anyone who already has circulation concerns, stiffness in the legs, swelling in the ankles, or a history of vascular problems, this pooling is not harmless. It adds quiet pressure to a system that is already working hard. But when you walk, even slowly, your calf muscles act like a pump. Every step, every gentle contraction pushes blood upward, back toward the heart, back into circulation. The pooling doesn't happen, the heaviness doesn't build, and your cardiovascular system gets a gentle, rhythmic assist exactly when it needs it most. This is why people who walk after meals often report that their legs feel lighter in the evenings, that the swelling they used to notice in their ankles, especially after dinner, begins to reduce, that they sleep better because their circulation is calmer and more balanced by the time they lie down. And sleep, this is where it gets even more interesting. Blood sugar and sleep are connected in ways that most people don't fully appreciate. When blood sugar spikes sharply after an evening meal and then drops unevenly, which is exactly what happens when you sit still after eating, the body experiences a kind of internal turbulence during the night. Cortisol rises to stabilize the dropping sugar. The nervous system stirs. Sleep becomes lighter, more fragmented. You wake more easily. You don't feel rested in the morning, even if you technically slept for 7 or 8 hours. Many older adults have accepted this pattern as simply part of aging. I just don't sleep as deeply as I used to. I wake up 2 or 3 times a night. I'm always tired by midday. But for a significant number of these people, the root of the problem is happening at the dinner table, or rather, in the hour after it. A short walk after your evening meal smooths out that blood sugar curve. The spike is lower, the drop is gentler. The body doesn't need to send emergency signals in the middle of the night. And sleep, real restorative sleep, becomes more accessible again. Now let's talk about something even closer to home. Think about your typical evening. You finish dinner, the dishes are cleared, maybe you pour a cup of tea, you settle into your chair or onto the sofa. The television comes on, and that's where you stay, comfortably, understandably, for the next 2 or 3 hours before bed. This is one of the most common evening routines in the world, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with rest and relaxation in the evening. But those first 20 minutes after dinner, just those 20 minutes, are quietly determining how your blood sugar behaves for the rest of the night, how your body recovers, how you feel when you wake up tomorrow. All it takes is a small interruption to that routine. A gentle one, an easy one. Finish your meal. Set a simple reminder on your phone if you need to. Just a quiet alarm, 15 minutes after you eat. When it goes off, stand up, put on your slippers, and walk around the kitchen, down the hallway, to the window and back for 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes of easy, comfortable movement. That's it. That is the entire habit. No gym, no equipment, no pain, no exhaustion, no special food to buy, no expensive supplement to take. Just your own 2 feet moving slowly through your own home at the right moment. And over days, over weeks, the body begins to respond. Blood sugar curves flatten. Energy becomes more even throughout the day. The heavy, foggy feeling after meals starts to lift. Legs feel less stiff in the mornings. Sleep deepens. And quietly, steadily, without drama, without struggle, the body begins moving toward balance. This is the kind of change that doesn't announce itself loudly. It creeps in gently, one meal at a time, one short walk at a time, until one day you realize you simply feel better than you have in years. And you can't quite put your finger on when it started, but it started here, with this. There is a reason the simplest habits are often the most powerful, because the body doesn't need complicated interventions. It needs consistent, gentle signals. Signals that say, I am moving, I am alive, take care of me. A short walk after meals is one of the clearest signals you can send. Start today. Start with your very next meal. Not tomorrow, not after you've thought about it more. Today. When the plate is cleared and the table is quiet, stand up and take those first few steps. Your body has been waiting for exactly this.